What is up, everybody? Back with another episode of Footy with the Boys. We got Nico here. Nico with the San Jose Earthquakes kit. How are you feeling, Nico?
I said earlier, pretty somber. Pretty somber thoughts over in my ends. How we doing over there, boys?
How we
Hunky
doing,
dory.
Mike?
Good,
Yeah.
dude.
What's the kit today, Mike?
Little Federação Futebol de Timor-Leste. Little Timor-Leste national kit.
Jeez.
A
Oh,
little Portuguese there for our bilingual watchers.
Low-key, that's
I
a
don't know if
flex,
there's too
though,
many of you
honestly.
yet, but soon enough.
yeah. I don't think we'll have too many international viewers on our podcast quite yet, but once we get there, they'll really appreciate
We're
that.
we're big in the Czech Republic, remember? That Champions League team?
Big in the Czech Republic. The
The
market is
Balkans
booming
love
right now.
us.
Buy stock now.
Stats say.
Nick, you said you had some somber thoughts. It's the headlines. Why don't we get right into it? A North London derby, a 2-2 draw, and Arsenal's going to be feeling like maybe it's not exactly a mutual result there, although it's still 2-2. Nick, take us away.
Yeah, pretty much every Arsenal fan's upset with the result. If you're Tottenham, I think you're pretty happy with the point at the Emirates. I don't think Tottenham played all that well, but Son and Madison both played very well, so I think that's what got them the point. Outside of our own mistakes. So yeah, that was our shittiest game of the season, no doubt. Fucking sucks that happened against the scum over there in Tottenham, especially at home too. Like we're so fucking shambled at home right now. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, look, like our best player was Saka, who also got turned for the tying goal in the first half. Like,
He got
and he
beat.
also, well, yeah, his stupid little dart celebrate. I guess they talk shit to each other over international break. That was kind of funny, but less funny when you concede 30 seconds later. So Xavier Jesus also played well, and he probably missed a much a sitter that could have ended the game first half. I feel like. So really not that much highlights. Odegaard, Vieira, Zinchenko, this fucking bum that's playing on my club, Eddie Nketiah, like all of them just non-existent this game. They don't do
Oh,
shit. No,
Back
I'm
on the
fully I'm
Eddie.
fully turned again on Nketiah. I'm just gonna keep going back for them because I am so sick of watching that dude play. Like I'm cool with him playing against Sheffield, cool with him playing against like even like a Palace. Like that's his level, you know what I mean? But fuck you. I don't know what Arteta's deal is with this guy, but we'll talk about him in a sec. And yeah, but I mean the real big thing is we played shit and we should have won this game if it wasn't for like huge mistakes from White on the first goal, not closing down his man, just like ball watching as like Saka gets turned, and obviously disgusting by Jorginho, right? So I don't know what the fuck he was doing. That is an experienced player. You can't be doing shit like that on this stage. So um yeah, I mean, poor performance. Honestly, the result of what I would expect when we play like that. So and I'm not as mad about the result as I am about Jesus Christ, just a bad performance. And then like if we're looking long term, like disappointing as hell. I was at an Arsenal bar watching the game, so vibes were low leaving. Follow Footy with the Boys Instagram. You saw some little clips of that here and there. But like long term injuries starting to pile up. Rice got fucking the only reason Jorginho's in the game, it wasn't Arteta's decision really. It was Declan got a little back spasms. Seems like he's out this week. Might miss the weekend as well. Saka's definitely gonna miss our Carabao Cup tomorrow. Might miss the weekend as well. But I mean, both of them. Then we have Martinelli still out, Timber still out, Party still out, Trossard out from a great Champions League game. So fuck, getting a little scary. We need some of these boys back, specifically 2 weeks from now. I mean, I think we can handle Bournemouth next week, although I like them, um, but that Man City game in 2 weeks looming large, so we need the boys back for then. Um, and then aside from that, like really long term, I think Arteta is like really the one to blame for this result, and what kind of makes me scared about the future because for some reason he is just in love with Eddie Nketiah. Like I understand liking the player as a backup striker, but after Jesus tore it up in the Champions League, to not have him start in the middle in arguably the biggest fixture of the season whenever we play Tottenham at home, like what the fuck is he thinking? Um, and then you know what? Fine, you get your starting 11 wrong. That's okay. Make the right changes. No, he leaves Nketiah on for the full 90. What the fuck did Eddie do to deserve that? He brings Smith Rowe on with like a minute left in the game, has no chance to make an impact. People shitting on Kai. I actually think he played all right, but no impact either way. And
He is
again,
double oh 007.
double O 7, our most dangerous creator for the game was Jesus, and he took him off at like 65 minutes, like chasing a victory on at home. So I don't know, man. I'm worried. It happened last year. He like Holding was like a hard worker for the club, showed all the values, was with us since a young age, and he kept them for too long. Saliba got injured, and it cost us a fucking title. Him playing in that back line. I feel like he's doing it again with Nketiah now, and we're just carrying some of these deadwood players. Like again, that might be too harsh, but I mean, fuck, like he can't be starting against Tottenham. The Jorginho thing, I get it. Like Party's out, Rice got injured. Honestly, Jorginho is your third DM is great. It's a ridiculous mistake, and it's completely his fault. That's not an Arteta, but I don't know. There's no way that. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Our ambitions now is to win a title. Like we proved that that's what we need to be aiming for. Whether or not we can do it, I don't know, but that's what we're aiming for. Okay, we're not aiming for the top four. We're aiming to fucking beat City out. And teams that win the title don't fucking have three big missed chances in the first game at home, in the first half at home, I should say, against our biggest rival, and they don't make two individual mistakes that then all of a sudden we're only getting 1 point out of this game. So it's a little bit of a red flag. I ultimately have faith that we're going to correct it, especially if some of these guys start coming back. But oh, it was just sad boy hours on Sunday. Yeah, fucking suck. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is Eddie even worth fucking keeping at the club? Like, what did you guys see from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's worth keeping at the club. I think he's a fine player, but like what you said, he shouldn't be starting that game. That's for sure. I mean, you're a little limited on your attacking options with the guys you have out, but he shouldn't be starting. If he's
Dude,
gonna
I'd rather
start,
have Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson looks solid
yeah,
coming on. Like, put
or
Reece in the left and Gabby in the middle. Like,
play
fuck.
Smith Rowe or do something else,
Yeah,
right? I mean, but even if Nketiah is going to start, he can't start in the middle. You have to have Jesus there in his best position because he is,
you know.
he's an elite striker, and
So about
you
that,
can't
Trace,
take off Jesus and leave Nketiah on. I mean, that was ridiculous.
ridiculous. It's a stupid fucking call. Trace, I'm glad you said that, Flags. What do you think? 'Cause there's been links online. Tony coming back in a month. They're saying Tony is really strongly linked to Arsenal. There's more whispers. I want to say super strong, but like whispers of Ferguson in the summer or someone like Oshiman in the summer, which seems even less likely. But do we think Jesus is good enough down the middle for like the big games, or should we be looking at a guy like Ivan Tony who offers something a little different? What do you think, Flags?
I think you kind of hit on it earlier is that you don't really have the depth, and so I think the reason that you do have an Nketiah starting in such a big game is realistically you have these injuries and you don't have the depth of somebody who's really
But Jesus is fit. Like
taking
that's just
taking
a
that role.
stupid ass
So
decision.
no, I think it is to be putting Jesus, your best striker, out of his natural position. I think it's more stupid to then take him off rather than Nketiah there. But I think, yeah, Tooney, Osimhen, obviously now with what Napoli has posted online, has made him probably a little bit easier to get out because he's probably going to be pretty disgruntled. But yeah, I think it kind of showed that they don't have the depth at the striker position, especially with somebody like Jesus, who's a little bit more injury prone. And I don't think Nketiah has shown that he's it. But I guess Arteta believes he was it on the day to be the
I
one.
can't.
But I think
I
I
can't
think
believe
that's
it,
the
dude.
biggest mistake. Is I'm okay with him starting. I think he's been decent. I don't think it's a bad idea to start him. I think it was a bad idea to keep him in over Jesus. Jesus has that ability to make something out of nothing and to finish things off, and I don't think Nketiah has that. I think Nketiah is just a pretty average Premier League striker.
Yeah, he's like a Like,
He's gonna get the job done, but he's not gonna do anything out of the ordinary.
yeah, he's not winning you a game. He'll like be part of a win, but he's not winning you a game, you know?
No.
But either way, he also like even for his standards, like he had a fucking dud this weekend. I was so mad. Last thing for me, we got the City game coming up in 2 weeks. Hopefully some of those legs come back and we're a little fresher. What do we think? Arsenal, if we are able to win that game, we're still looking like title challengers, or are we maybe falling off the wayside a little bit? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I
If
mean,
you're
if you
able
could
to beat
beat
Man City,
City, for sure, title
Well, a Man
challenger.
City without Rodri and De Bruyne.
But I
that
mean, I
doesn't
still think
matter.
that's a,
Look
a,
at
a
us
tall
the same.
task. Like I think even fully healthy, you guys will struggle against Man City, just how they're playing. And I know how good your midfield is, but they have not looked fantastic for a little bit now. Um, I, I, I don't know. I wouldn't want to play City.
I don't think
I
anybody
think
wants to play City,
No,
I think
but
you're selling our midfield
I mean,
short, but yeah.
both sides
I
are gonna
I rate them,
have
but they're just
files.
not. They're not at their best. I'll say that.
Like
Going
Rodri, De
back to the
Bruyne are
Tottenham
all.
game, I I
We
think you
also
guys
have
were a little
Saka.
lucky to get a result based on what I watched. I thought those substitutions on Arteta's end were poor, and I thought Big Ange's substitutions were a little interesting as well. They obviously weren't super scared of Arsenal scoring again, so they didn't make defensive subs. They pulled on Højbjerg and Richarlison at the end. I think you have to leave Son and Madison out there with how great they were playing together. Um,
Madison almost got his fucking leg
I mean,
snapped in
that's not
half.
proven
So
off.
yeah, that's true. But they look threatening. That duo between those guys is something special.
they produced good moments, but Tottenham did not play a good game. Like Basuma only showed up once Jorginho and fucking Kai were in the midfield. Like that's like they were poor in the first half, and they could not play out of Arsenal's press for a while. That's the other thing.
That's true.
Arteta also went to the long ball at a certain point, like to get out of Tottenham's press, and then we have Eddie there doing nothing when we have like 6'4" Kai, who like the thing that he's best at is in the air and like winning and winning that ball and linking up the play. So it was a bad fucking game from Arteta. I don't know what he was doing.
I think on all fronts, it's kind of mostly just wasted opportunity and disappointing for
Yeah,
Arsenal
fuck.
in every sense of the word. It's Romero has an own goal. They give up a penalty on a handball. That's two goals that are just given to you guys essentially, and you let them back into the game off of. It's not like Tottenham worked crazy hard and
No,
oh, beautiful
no.
football gets the goals. It's
That's
Jorginho's was just absolutely shocking. Like
so,
it's
like
not
that's
that
why.
Tottenham played an amazing game to get their goals. Arsenal was given some. There's injuries for Arsenal. I think it's just a very disappointing weekend for Arsenal, especially just the way the game went.
That's why I also think Trace, like, I don't think we were lucky to get like Tottenham created absolutely nothing by themselves. Like it was just us gifting them both goals. There was no other moment where they actually looked threatening in any way. I like I it was just like we were better and or we are better and we didn't show it that game. It fucking pissed me off.
I agree
I
that
think
you
we
are
saw.
better, but I didn't see that on the day. I
Yeah, no shit.
I don't think either team played outstanding, but I think a draw is a fair result from what I saw.
I would say I am happy about one thing, which is that I finally have something against Big Ange, whatever the fuck. Um, because after the first of all, his suit looked fucking horrible, and like, he wears the frumpiest suits. You're like a tracksuit kind of manager, bro. You can't be
he's
out there
he's a
like
big big lad.
trying to stunt like but then also after the game, he's like, "There's no way that the Romero was a handball. Like, I need an apology from the refs. Like, yada yada yada." I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" Like, it was the clearest handball I've seen like the entire season. So, happy that I can finally stop sucking that dude off. Jesus Christ.
Didn't take
You
much.
can stop sucking him off too.
Well, with that segue,
Oh yeah, now that we're talking about sucking off, we go over
I
to
can keep going. We
Liverpool.
can.
I thought, hey, shout out Basuma. He had a great game. I think he's really
No,
hitting
he
form.
didn't,
But
bro. He did not.
bro, he was moving it through the field
Yeah, and like the
so
last
well.
30 minutes, once Jorginho's slow ass got on there, like he did nothing. He gave the
was
ball
an
away a
impact player.
couple times.
He looked
Oh
better
my
than
God.
Pape Sarr did. I'll tell you that. And I've rated both those guys,
All right.
but off game.
We
Liverpool.
see Liverpool, West Ham. West Ham was starting the season off on fire. Liverpool has continued their season on fire. 3-1. Mike, this was your featured game of the week. Run us through your thoughts.
My featured game, and I'm pretty sure I nailed the prediction on the score line. I
That
think it
wasn't
was
your lock though. No one gives a fuck.
no, it was not. They lost 3-1 to City last week, and then they have to go play Liverpool at Anfield. That's a tough little run of games. Salah on the score sheet, per usual. Little unfortunate with the penalty, how it kind of came off Darwin, and then they just catch Salah. But that happens, especially when Liverpool's attacking as often and as quickly as they do. Darwin Núñez with a fucking beauty.
Banger,
He missed
yeah.
a sitter, and then a couple of minutes later, he gets a nice ball over the top from McAllister, who is fitting in to that deeper midfield role, I believe, and tucks it away. Beautiful goal. Jared Bowen also with a fantastic goal. Another diving header. We saw James Ward-Prowse against City with a diving header, and now Jared Bowen with another diving header. And their goal was well worked. Ball over the top. Mikel Antonio does well to hold it up. And yeah, I think West Ham is fine, but they're just not at the level of Liverpool. And Liverpool's playing really well. They look back to they're kind of themselves. They took a dip last year, but with these reinforcements they have, how to push and bound.
I think I agree. And Liverpool's looking better than Arsenal right now. It's still a 3-team race, but I would say Liverpool. I think Liverpool's looking better than City right now. I know City's been ruthless, but like Liverpool's way more fun to watch in my opinion. Just my one man's opinion. Yeah. Hey, is it just me or is like Ward Prowse and Jared Bowen like the same? Like, they're the same person. Like they're just like British, ugly, good at soccer. Like, but yeah, balding, yeah, like shit hairlines. Like, although I can't say too much, but yeah, I think this is just Liverpool's class. Zabalazoi is, oh my god, what a player that guy is. Fucking baller. I think he might be my favorite player on that Liverpool team. Salah just shows up on the score sheet every week. So I mean, what else can you really expect? I still like West Ham though. I actually think they played well. Liverpool's just that much better. But I still like them like a top 10 finish. I really like Liverpool to. I think maybe even more so than ourselves and the Gunners at this point to bring Man City down to the wire. So we still have to see them play a team that can actually play and see how that midfield holds up defensively. But you're right, McAllister and Sabazza are fitting in very nicely. They haven't had to defend as much, but it looks like a fucking proper Jurgen Klopp side. So, yeah, good win for them. Tough for West Ham. Hopefully they bounce back.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
Liverpool
think
will get that
Liverpool's
test next week
really good.
playing the Spurs.
Yeah,
Liverpool's looking really good, but I do think probably second best in the league behind Man City. But I worry about depth for them
also
in
true,
terms of
yeah.
the whole season wise, in terms of challenging for a title, because I do think that midfield doesn't necessarily have super great depth and quality in case one of those top players go down. And defensively as well, I don't think they have anybody too far in the pockets there for that. But yeah, they're
That's
playing
fair.
really good right now, and I think it's just good to see Liverpool back. Because last year they had just that slump that kind of ruined their season before kind of turning it on towards the end. But yeah, good to see them beat a good team and Mo Salah doing Mo Salah things.
I
I
miss
think they're
Ahmed.
I think they're deeper than we give them credit for. I think
You're not. Shut up.
yeah, they are. I mean,
I mean, what's
and
their depth that you're thinking is
Yeah,
so
who's
deep?
their bench?
well, their
Who are you
bench
talking
they
about?
I'm
have
saying
they have. I
compared
mean,
to an
starting
Arsenal
for
and Man City.
starting with defense and Simakas, Konate, Joe
Yes.
Gomez, and then going into the midfield, they got Gravenberch and Cody Gakpo, and Endo if he's not starting. And then up top,
No.
I mean, Diogo
You're just
Jota.
naming
And,
the entire
You're just
amount of
naming the
players.
players on their team. That's not actual quality to step in if someone like is out for a
those
month.
are quality players.
No, they're fucking not.
Yeah.
The only guy close is Gakpo, and he's not even a midfielder.
I mean, Gakpo
All their
subs
depth
in up
is
top.
in attack.
No, Gravenberch is a midfielder, and
I don't. How?
I
Why
wouldn't say
not so much
Endo and
faith in
Gravenberch
Gravenberch?
are title-winning depth.
I think it's pretty damn good. I think you could do a lot worse.
But look at an Arsenal. Look at a Man City. Those are the people they're competing with. In terms of depth, this bench is
No one
nothing
competes with Man
compared to
City on depth, but I think that rivals Arsenal's depth. I'll
Dude,
stand
okay,
by
no,
that.
because our starting, I was really, again, I was mad and Nketiah started in the middle, but our starting 11 looked good this weekend with all those injuries. Like, that, it is not the same. If Sabalazoy goes out, that starting 11 is different. If Salah goes out, that starting 11 is different. Like, we have lost key players, and we've had strong 11s, bad performance, don't get me wrong, but I believe in our 11. There's no way that you're saying that Liverpool has the depth to make a real run. I changed my mind. I still do have Arsenal second. I think Flags is right. The depth is going to matter throughout this year. Although, are they
I
in?
think depth matters if there's injuries or they go far in the Europa League.
They're in
But
Europa, right?
Yeah,
yeah, Europa.
Yeah, I mean, Klopp's going to want to win that. There's no doubt about that.
yeah. They
But I
started
do
a
think they can go pretty
different
far into the
lineup and
season
won
without
comfortably.
having to play their starters nonstop in that competition.
I think Flags is right, and I think you're a
Thank
fucking
you.
moron.
Nick.
Deep team, baby. I'll stand by that.
All right, we'll see how the depth rolls out for them. One team that has plenty of players and still zero depth is the billion-dollar Chelsea team that lost to Aston Villa. This was my featured game of the week. And yeah, both teams, it's a big game for in very opposite reasons. Aston Villa, after this win, is in 6th place. Chelsea is 1 point above Everton in 14th place right now. They
We're the
have
real
not
Blues.
scored a goal this entire month. An entire month without scoring a goal. That is the state of Chelsea Football Club right now. Nick,
This is my
how
favorite.
long do we give them to turn anything around? Because
This
if
is
we
my favorite.
click on Chelsea here, Palmer, I just
Yeah,
want
look
to
at this
highlight
schedule.
again their upcoming schedule, and it gets so much worse for them other than Burnley.
Oh my gosh. Tottenham City, Newcastle.
Listen,
Right.
this is my favorite segment of the week. I love even when Arsenal pisses me off or just makes me sad. Chelsea's always there to lift me up with them. So I appreciate the boys in blue. I agree with Trace. If Toffees somehow finish higher than Chelsea this year, they're officially the new Blues. Like we're no longer calling Chelsea the Blues. Toffees are the Blues, and
Up to the
that's what
Blues.
we're going with. How much time do we give them? We should give them time. But like, what's the alternative? What's the fix? There's no fix. Their fix was throw $1 billion at the squad, and that didn't fucking work. So like, I don't know, man. I think I keep riding it with Pochettino, because you can't just have a new manager every 6 months, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I have zero answers for this team. Maybe a switch in systems, something. They need to change something. Try scoring goals. How about that?
I sell the team back to Roman Abramovich and hire Jose Mourinho for a third term, and that's about as good a chance you got.
Dude, I tell you, Mourinho would do bits with this team. He would park the bus and he would have Mudryk sprinting in behind like 6 times a game. He'll finish one chance.
Yeah, and then they'd
That's
win the
the problem,
Champions League
especially
next year.
they can't score at all, whether it be on the break. Like I'm pretty sure in this game, like they had some chances. I think they're like second in the league in expected goals. They have nobody
No,
who has
they're
that killer
not.
instinct. No, they. I saw a tweet. I
How?
should
There's no way.
send over
What are
to
the
producer
expected? What
Pete,
was their
but
expected goals?
Man
Does it say there,
City
Palmer?
and
I don't
Chelsea are
see it.
top 2 in the league in expected
That's
goals.
random. I'm calling bullshit on
They
that.
just
Someone
don't
duped your ass.
finish anything off.
Yeah, they're
I
bad.
I don't even understand it.
I mean,
How
dude,
They're bad.
anytime Nicholas Jackson has the ball, I don't expect a goal. I'll say that.
I'd rather have
Because
Eddie.
all these players that were good, they were good at their previous clubs. I don't think good to Chelsea standards. I still think the purchasing has been a little moneyball, try and buy some young player, except I guess not so because they're overpaying by so much for them
Yeah,
too.
it's not Moneyball. It's
But
career mode. It's it's career mode is what it
it's
is.
like they're buying
Career
these
mode
players
with
that they
cash
could get.
influx.
Buying players that they could get at a cheaper price, paying way more, but they're not the developed product that you would want.
And the Prem is
It
different
just
too. Like they're
seems,
not buying anyone from the Prem except for Caicedo, and he still fucking sucks. So
yeah. I mean, to be fair, he's not expected to be scoring goals, so
yeah, no,
I
true,
wouldn't say that
true.
that part's on him.
But he did score some own goals, so
Yeah,
I think that maybe they need to buy like fucking Callum Wilson. Like that's the player they need right now. They need someone who's scored like Mikel Antonio 2 years ago. They need a player who has scored goals in the Prem before. Ollie Watkins. That's who they need. Ollie Watkins scored
I
against
think
them. That's
if
who the
they
Strawberry team
went
needs.
to Aston Villa would shut them down and say we're a club that's performing better than you.
Yeah, and then
I
Todd
don't know if
Bowley will
they.
toss 120 million for Ollie Watkins. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I guess too. How far though into
Uh,
FIFA fair play can they really go at this point? Like I feel like they've already stretched it pretty damn thin.
Do we think Enzo's getting sold? He was pissed, right?
I think after this year, yeah, because they're going to be in the championship. There's got to be some type of relegation clause.
All right, wait. Last question on this game. How long do we wait until we kick them out of our top 6 featured games of the week? Like, do we
It is
replace them
way
with like
too fun to
Newcastle
shift them,
soon?
kick them out. It is way too fun.
yeah, as long as they suck, let's keep talking about them. They ain't a top 6 club anymore. That's for sure.
Fuck no! What the hell? Oh,
I mean, they're not even a top half of the table team.
God.
So, and I'd like to
I
say that's
like
like an exaggeration, but they quite literally finished 12th,
I
and now
like
they're in 14th.
Aston Villa, Newcastle, West Ham. I like all those teams to finish above them. Brighton, all of them.
And only compliment
What's
I'm
the
going to give
problem
him is Robert Sanchez made some great saves this weekend.
Yeah, but then he got beat at like a horrible
At the end of
angle.
the
Yeah.
game?
Then he got let one in that he shouldn't have. So,
Yeah.
yep. Even their best
I think
performers.
all the money coming into the Prem, you see a bunch of teams that invest wisely, like an Aston Villa, a West Ham, a Newcastle, even like a Crystal Palace or Fulham are pretty decent teams. I'd say are investing a lot better than Chelsea, Brentford, even
Crystal Palace.
Nottingham Forest. Yeah.
like, but investing their money better than Chelsea, and I just see these teams like these are even matchups, like Fulham, Chelsea. I see as even levels at this point, and that should
No,
not
no.
at all be true. So where they're finishing, I see them below so many of these teams. I don't know. Chelsea, I would say go out and buy some players, but that's not been the solution so far.
In the doghouse, they
Oh
suck.
boy. Yeah. Going to the rest of our big 6 roundup, as Mike or Nick and Mike were saying. Not so much of the big 6 with Chelsea involved, but come over to one that's definitely in the top 6. Man City 2-0 versus Nottingham Forest. The biggest headline from this game is a Rodri red card. Nick, how are you feeling about that red card and what it might mean for Arsenal?
It sucks because now we're going through it with injuries, so we might be missing some key players. But again, Palmer, if you could pull that tweet up, I think Martinelli, Saka, and Rice should all be back for that game next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So I think Trossard should be able to as well. I think I think this might be Arsenal's moment. Obviously, we got to bounce back first. Like, can't overlook Bournemouth with how shit we played. But honestly, I feel pretty strong that we're gonna beat the fucking shit out of them with how bad we played, even with some injuries. Arteta's gonna be up their ass. So, I you know, if we show some good form against Bournemouth and if our players are back healthy, I actually really like Arsenal. At the very least, like this is gonna be our best chance to do it. Rodri and De Bruyne out. That's their two best players, I'd argue, outside of Holland, and maybe even with Holland, honestly. So, I if we're not gonna do it now, it's gonna be never. And I'm telling you, we've been playing not great form, but still have 4 wins and 2 draws at the start of the season. I feel it feels like maybe some stars are aligning. And this Rodri red card is the latest part of it.
I think Arsenal's going to need to sharpen their blades a bit for Man
We
City,
played City
even with
well in the
Rodri
Community Shield.
and De Bruyne out. Huh?
We played City really well in the Community Shield, really well.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
just think
Community Shield.
the way they've been playing against some teams,
Yeah, but
like the
both of
Tottenham
those
game,
teams.
they've been letting themselves down in terms of form, I think. But I think obviously a big game like this, they could get up for it. Obviously, you'd say the same thing against Spurs, and they did let that game kind of slip. But I think this one's a bit more of a everybody on their toes type game.
I mean, I don't know if we will
win.
win, but if we don't win now, we just never will. So
Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta needs to step out of Pep's shadow kind of this game. I mean, he's a great manager. I don't want to downplay him as, Pep's minion or whatever, but there is a little bit of that. He learned his managing and was an assistant for Pep for a number of years, and obviously has a lot of respect and love and some sort of friendship with him, I'm sure. But he's got to want to beat him. I think that's probably something that is burning deep in him and something to prove. Um, I think Arsenal will need that attacking talent back. I think Trossard is a perfect guy to play against Man City
or the
because they're
Community
so
Shield, yeah.
they're so hard to score against with that defensive line. Even if Rodri's not playing, some of those guys that could slip in at that CDM role, Nunes in particular, who's been playing a lot, they look great. And I think it's to be a low scoring game. I don't think the players that City are missing matter as much as the players that Arsenal is missing currently.
Again, though, they're saying we'll be back. They're saying a lot of them will be back. I think the only guys who definitely won't, obviously Timber, who's a long-term one, and then Hardy is like 50-50, it feels like.
And he might not even feature, or he'd come off the bench most
Well,
likely.
so
Right?
the midfield three in the Community Shield was Rice, Party, Odegaard, which I think is our strongest midfield against big teams that we need like the most solidness against. Like I think that midfield would have started against Tottenham if you ask me, if Party was
Okay.
healthy. And I think we bring on Havertz or Fabio depending on what Arteta sees against like some teams that we should possess a little bit more.
Yeah, and City will obviously be without De Bruyne, Rodri, and then possibly Bernardo Silva, who's been dealing with some
Yeah.
minor
Specifically,
injuries.
honestly, specifically De Bruyne, he always dog walks Arsenal. So
I mean, he dog walked about everybody. He is.
yeah, that's fair.
But
That's fair.
back to Man City in this game, they are doing all these. They're having a perfect season so far. Not even a draw. This is all without Kevin De Bruyne. We talked about the title challenges of Liverpool and Arsenal earlier. Is there how realistic if they're going perfect through 6 without De Bruyne is once he gets back they're able to cut the gap already 4 points for Arsenal, 2 points for Liverpool.
I don't know.
It's early. It's early.
It's too
It's
early.
early,
City,
and Arsenal had like a 12-point lead on City last year. Like, and I know City's a different animal than Arsenal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to pretend that Arsenal
Hey,
is a better team, but I do think like we can play with them at our best, at their best. I think we play with them well. So Yeah, and like I said, I still think Liverpool's played the best soccer so far this year. So, despite the draw. So, um, yeah, it's fucking early. I know I've been talking about the title a lot, but 6 games. Relax.
All right. Going to the other team from
Wait, real quick.
Manchester United.
Who
They've been
is this
in
dude?
some
That's Holland, baby.
Erling Haaland.
Bro,
Erling.
he looks like a villain in a Die
Bond
Hard
movie.
movie, bro.
Oh, nice.
Or Bond, yeah. Like
He
Yeah.
looks like
that is one hell of a mug, bro.
He looks
He's the
like
villain of my
Targaryen
dream.
from House of Dragons. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, he does. All right, I just wanted to get that out. My bad.
That's a good addition.
Demon Targaryen.
Back to the other team from Manchester U. In some hot water, Eric Ten Hag had to get a result. It is 1-0 versus Burnley. I don't even want to ask this question because I feel it is one of the stupidest questions that we may have asked on this podcast. But I'll give it to Mike. Is this the start of a turnaround for Manchester United? The 1-0 victory versus Burnley.
No. Maybe their win in the Carabao Cup against Crystal Palace is more indicative of a turnaround, but 1-0
Palace.
against Burnley is, yeah, that's nothing, dude. I mean, 4 shots on target. They're getting matched. They're getting outpossessed by Burnley. Like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, I get it that they still have some guys out, but they're way bigger than Burnley. They got way better players. They spend way more money. What the hell is going on? I mean, they needed the win. We said Ten Hag needs to win for his job. They need the win for the season. They got the win, but it was anything other than convincing.
Nick, I know you're a big Eric Ten Hag believer. Is Bruno Fernandes the guy to build around? Is he the one that's spurring the comeback?
Honestly, it might be Johnny Evans. What a ball. That was a hell of a fucking pass. Good finish by Fernandez. I am curious about this, though. What do you guys no, by the way, is my opinion. But what do you think about Bruno? Like, where does he like is he a guy that can like lead a team? Like, I think he's a bad pick for captain. That's not what I'm talking about. But like, is this a guy who like you can build a team around stylistically? Because it feels like I don't know what he does at like a really, really, really high level.
I think I think he gets a lot of shit because he's at Man U and they're playing terrible. I do think he's a very good player, but I do think that he is almost getting put into roles that don't suit him that
He's
well, and
not
I
like
think
the he's not like
he
the
needs a manager to
creator,
build
right?
around him, not put him in because he's playing right mid. That's not really going to be indicative of good performances for him. But I do still think he's a great player. I don't think for the standard of Manchester United, he at all is somebody that you should be building around. I think he should be a piece type of player, but that's up Manchester United's historic value rather than where they are right now. Mike, do you agree?
I mean, yeah, the history argument, sure. I mean, Man U's outside of Real Madrid and maybe AC Milan and Barcelona, like the biggest club in history. But I rate him. I rate him very highly. I think
So
outside of
what does he do like really, really well? Like I know he does a lot of things like pretty good, but I don't see any elite traits. Like any.
I think his creativeness is very
Is he?
elite. I think he stands there with.
He did so
I
many
mean,
goal
I think he's a
contributions.
step above Odegaard and James Madison.
Oh, oh my Christ.
I think he's the
I don't
second
think
best
I don't think
attacking
right now. I
minded
don't think right
midfielder
now on form.
outside of De Bruyne. But yeah, maybe not right this moment. But what have we seen with his career so far at Man U? I rate him right under
But
De Bruyne.
but even when he started hot, he was like scoring. It wasn't so much creating. Like
But that's you want goals from your midfield as well. I think the biggest thing with Bruno is he needs a team around him. I don't think he's one to drag a team along with him. I think when the wheels are turning, he gets turning himself quite a bit and can have this great form with goals, assists, huge numbers in terms of goal contributions. But I do think he needs a team around him to be helping out with that. Because I
So
don't
so
think
so don't get me wrong. I do think he can I think he makes right decisions, and I think he's a good finisher. But I don't see like the creativity in him. Like I don't see him creating things out of nothing. Am I wrong or
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
creates it. It's
He can
crazy
he
how.
can break a team with a pass. I mean, he'll hit channels and he'll hit dinks over the top that are those are pretty damn creative, I would say.
but like so with the really elite creators, De Bruyne, Ozil, Modric, like with the elite ones, and I'd say based on form, Odegaard, especially from last year, and even honestly this year when Jesus has played, um, like they play a ball and everyone's like, oh, I didn't see that. Like the ball that Fernando plays is like okay, like it's a 3-on-2. The guy's out wide, and he played the right ball, and he played it well. But he's not like holy shit. How did he see or how did he just created that? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't. I swear to God,
I
I
see
don't think
what
it's
you're
biased.
saying. I don't think he's a magician with passes. I think he does, like you said, make the right passes and does them right and well, but then he can add in the goals as well, has the quality to finish chances off and be in the right place to finish chances off when they come to him.
His
He's
positioning
textbook.
is very good, and he's a good finisher for sure.
I'll be interested to see what he does when Højlund gets into the lineup, more permanently, and
He's
they will
played.
actually have a good striker who actually makes good runs. I mean, Anthony Martial is not that guy.
Is Hoyland that guy? Whatever.
I
We
think
can
Højlund
table
could
it.
be that guy.
We can table it,
We'll see.
but
We'll
I
see
think
how
it's something to keep an eye on.
Ends up. Cleaning up the rest of the Premier League, we boy, Sheffield versus Newcastle. Holy
Fuck,
shit.
I forgot
That
about this game.
was that was something else. I checked in it was 3-0 at the half and I thought, well, that game's over. Let me turn that off. And then I checked back not that long after and it was like 6-0 and I was like, damn, that is a lot of goals. And they still did not stop. It was 8-0 with 8 different goal scorers.
That's the crazy part. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nick, they were on fraud watch on this pod not too long ago.
I stood by
Are they
them.
officially off the watch list?
I stood by them. I said they got a crappy result, I think, against Bournemouth, that 1-0 win. And then I said, maybe this is the start of something. They were able somehow to get a draw from the Milan game. And I think the floodgates have opened now. I mean, how can you argue it hasn't? 8-0? This isn't Chelsea winning 3-0 versus Luton. I know Sheffield's ass, but 8-0? Like Liverpool didn't beat Man U that bad. Like, oh my god. Like 8-0 is insane. Um, wow, 8 different goal scorers too is the craziest part. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I think the boys are back. I think they're catching form. I'm sure you guys hate to see Anthony Gordon doing well, but he had a good game. And I mean, fuck, who didn't have a good game for Newcastle? Um, in other news, the 3 teams that got promoted, they're going back down. So can't take too much from this
I just
game,
didn't see
but
it on
8-0
the
is
hop right
impressive.
after this one.
Yeah, that was domination. You almost feel bad. I mean, as an Everton fan, I like to see our competition, lose, but 8-0 is demoralizing. That's a loss that stains the rest of the season. Like the
Yeah,
fans are going to
bro.
feel that. The players are going to feel that. And
Like, what do
ex-Everton
you
guy,
say in
Tom
the locker
Davies,
room?
is in that team, and he's
You
at fault
don't
for the
say
last goal.
anything in the locker room. You walk out of there.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking bus ride was dead silent on the way home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as the manager of this team, what the fuck do you do? Like, you can't watch the game tape. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think soccer is such a confidence game where you see so many players
yeah, bro.
play insanely well if they have confidence. If they get into form, all of a sudden you're like, how is this player that was so bad before now doing so great? And the answer is almost always just confidence. They've had a run of form and that confidence grows and grows. This is the exact opposite, and it's for the entire team. It is 8 to
Oh,
0.
yeah.
That is, you just cannot hold your head high. If it was 3-0, you're like, okay, it's a loss by multiple goals, but whatever. 8 to nothing, your confidence is shot, and you're going into the next game trying to avoid a disaster class again, rather than saying, "Hey, we can shock them. We can come out and win this thing." And again, good for Everton. But Ollie McBurney out with a red card, I think that's a big difference here. I think it would have been at least 8 to 1 then.
Yeah, what a player.
What a player, generational.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
tough one to swallow. Anthony Gordon scored a nice goal,
He
but
did. That's a good goal.
just kind of evidence of how shit Sheffield is. He couldn't defend anything. A lot of the goals came in the air. A lot of goals came off of blocked first attempts and then going right to another guy and just tucking it away. Yeah, sorry to Sheffield's goalkeeper. I hope you're okay.
Sorry to everybody who is a Sheffield fan,
Yeah.
but celebrations for all the Everton fans as we got a big 3-1 result over Brentford. Going into this, Brentford has been having a pretty good season. Everton, not so much. But they take down the Bees 3-1. Mike, what does this mean? Are we back?
It's surprising, but yeah, I have a lot of confidence now. I mean, I was completely out on our team. I thought it was going to be another relegation battle, but just this game alone
I still think it might
shows
be,
me
but
I think we'll finish, bottom half of the table, but I think it'll be comfortable. I think we'll win some games. And scoring 3 goals, that's not something we do. So great. And Brentford's a solid team. So against a good opponent, away, that says a lot.
yeah, huge
Yeah, dude.
result.
I I am on Tracy's boat. I actually like attacking wise, like Everton's got some talent. I know we've been shitting on Danjuma a little bit, but he's looked better. Beto looks good. Calvert-Lewin's healthy. So I
Good
mean,
goal.
there's what's the name of the Leeds player? Jack Harrison's gonna start playing soon, hopefully. I like
Yep.
him. So man, I don't hate this team finishing somewhere around maybe ahead of Chelsea, like 12 to 15 range.
That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say.
That was honestly my favorite game to watch this weekend. When Calvert-Lewin scored the third one, just like the joy and relief that was on Everton, the players, like the away end, like that was really cool. That was really cool. So really happy for the Toffees, happy for you lads. And again, with the way that bottom three is looking, I feel like Everton survival, I think will be a little more comfortable this year.
Yeah,
And I've
after
been crapping on.
the Brentford equalizer, I was pretty pissed. I thought it was another loss after having a lead, but Everton gets it done. And you look at the table there, you have all the newly promoted teams doing pretty awful, and then I think Everton's better than Wolves. They outplayed them in the game that they did play, even though they did lose. But I think Everton
That's what I'm saying.
has
Like
a little spark right now.
Fulham, Nottingham, Crystal
They're not
Palace.
terrible.
Yeah, they're kind of on the same level. I like it.
I like their odds, and I wouldn't have said that, but I think all the new teams have been very helpful in inspiring some confidence that Everton is just at least better than them, not as shit. But the team in 17th played versus Brighton, and Bournemouth will not be there long because Tyler Adams is coming back. But unfortunately, they could not get a result versus Brighton here. They even had the lead for a good 22 minutes, and then it gets leveled, and then Mitoma comes in as a halftime sub and gets a brace. I believe his 46-minute goal was 17 seconds into the second half. Man is just on fire. Nick, Brighton, they are in third place right now. De Zerbi last year had them cooking towards the end when he had taken over. He gets the full season with them this time in third. Where are you thinking Brighton finishes in the fold of the City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal type of competitive landscape this year?
Season long, I like them to finish seventh. I like them better than Villa. I like them better than West Ham. I think I still take Newcastle over them.
They just beat
But yeah,
Newcastle.
huh?
They just beat Newcastle.
I know. I still think I'd take Newcastle over them. I just like the team better, like the depth, especially that midfield. So yeah, no, but I mean, for a club the size of Brighton, right? I mean, that's huge if they could get Conference League, maybe sneak a Europa League. I think that's big. So I don't think their top four challenge will be sustained. I'm honestly in a month, I don't expect them to see them there, maybe a month and a half. But yeah, I mean, they're a fun team to watch, and even Bournemouth's goal was a Brighton mistake. That keeper like fucked something. So, um, good team, good team.
Mike, tell me you have more hope for the top four for the Mighty Seagulls.
I can't see a top 4 finish, which is
Dude,
how
you
long the
thought
season is. But I could see them sniffing 5, like pushing for proper Europa League spot.
Sniffing 5 is all they get?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good teams and we've
Jared,
talked
talk your
about it.
shit, bro.
We've talked about it.
I would say they're favorite for fifth.
The word of the day so far has been depth, and Brighton has a little bit of depth, but not comparatively to the big boys
They have
in
sneaky
England.
depth. Producer P, if you
Sneaky
would go
depth.
to their lineup and look at the bench they have,
Better
they
depth,
have
Brighton or
sneaky
Liverpool?
depth.
Liverpool. Yeah.
I mean, João Pedro, Lamptey, Ansu Fati, Mitoma, Solly Marsh, all
This
coming off
is
the
good depth.
bench.
This is good depth for like a mid-table club. This is not good depth for even a Europe. Well, maybe Europe
Adam
level, but
Lallana.
yeah.
I think no. I think it's a better depth than Newcastle. Having Ansu Fati, who's looked very good.
No, I like Newcastle's depth better, and I
Newcastle's
like their
got
I think
midfield
Ansu
a lot
Fati
better.
Newcastle's got some proper depth. Let's
Yeah,
not kid ourselves here.
I honestly, my philosophy, if you like, I think you have to look at spines of teams like to see their proper levels, and I just like the spine a lot better on Newcastle than I do on Brighton. Better goalkeeper, better center backs, better midfield, like especially the six. And
Not a better
maybe not a
manager.
better striker, but who knows? Isak versus Ferguson, I feel like it's close. But yeah, I like Newcastle better. But again, I mean, this is great for Brighton, and they're fun to watch, so they're always good to have on TV.
I think Brighton
I'd love
just
for him to finish Champions League. I just don't
wanted
see it happening.
It's not happening. And
Zerbi has them.
dude, if they do finish Champions League, it's gonna be a problem. They don't have the depth to rotate like that.
You
No,
think
they would
Brighton,
need
if they finish
they would
Champions
need
League,
to
they're gonna have a
spend.
problem?
Yeah, if Brighton is bad for the club. Well, of course, it's not bad for the club, but next season might be rough if they do finish
But they have
Champions League.
so much
Again, they
money
won't.
saved up from all these people they've sold, and they'll have insane revenue coming in from the Champions League.
That's not how they work, though,
They're
bro.
going to spend a lot of money.
They're
But
not
are they still
qualifying
a
for the
selling
Champions
club? I mean, are some of these guys still going to go? Like, I'm surprised Purvis is Stupiñan's still there. And does he get sold in January?
Not
I don't
January
think
with
it's
something
for
like that.
January. I think
I mean,
they've built
I think
themselves
they
Chelsea's
up
going
are
to
a
come
selling
knocking.
club.
You know,
sell.
Chelsea's going to come knocking for every one of those players.
But I think they've gotten to a point where they don't have to be selling all their top level player. Estupinian could stay. I don't think he's necessarily somebody that they're like, oh, we need to get rid of because he's very valuable. We can invest in other people. They've started to have the money because of top finishes, getting into Europe, selling huge players like a Caicedo that give you the funds to be able to hang on to those players and
Look,
just
dude, what
continue to
you're
bring in other talents like a Mitoma, like a Ansu Fati type.
saying makes sense. Let's not forget they didn't spend for Fati. Okay, they loaned him in. There's a big difference.
Yeah, but I'm
But
saying
the mentality of this team isn't a team that like they. I'm sorry, I don't think they have that ambition, bro. Like they're not looking to do that. They're looking to make as much money as possible and still keep playing a competitive team, but they're not going to be like outspending players just because they're getting high transfers. That's the way I see it playing out. And they're not qualifying for Champions League. So like let's relax on that.
We'll see. I don't know if the Champions League, but I definitely think fifth spot is theirs to lose based off De Zerbi and how he has them playing. I think fifth should be theirs. I think they're better than Newcastle in how they're playing. I think, yeah, maybe names on paper, Newcastle would beat them out, but names on paper has not been working out for a lot of the teams, like a Man United, like a Chelsea. So it's down to how you play, and Brighton are playing very, very well. De Zerbi has them absolutely balling.
Sorry, what
That's
names
true.
on paper does Man U or
We-
Chelsea have?
It'll be
Casemiro,
interesting
Varane,
to pay attention to their Premier League campaign and then in tandem with Europa League. They lost that first game. Let's not forget that. So
Yeah, good
the
point.
balancing those competitions is a big thing, especially with the squad with not the craziest amount of depth. So we'll
I
see if
think
they can
that's
do it
why
with
they don't
Europa
top
League.
four.
Champions League's a whole nother beast.
I've also
Newcastle's
seen
also going to be bouncing.
I've also seen like managers flame out before who play really well. Like let's not like Rafa did really well at the beginning and then he flamed out. Like there's it's I'm not completely sold on De Zerbi as like an elite manager. He let's not forget he flamed out in Italy. He got let go of these teams for a reason. It's not like they're worth the
I mean, but you
biggest
can do
name
that to
to.
any single manager.
He does have the Pep stamp of
Doesn't mean
approval.
But there's a difference, right? Like Ancelotti gets the Real Madrid job. Luis Enrique gets like a national team job. Mourinho even goes to Roma. Like there, let's. I want to see a little bit more before we crown De Zerbi as like the maestro of football.
I'm not saying he's the master. I'm just saying he has them playing very well, and from what we've
Yeah,
seen, they haven't shown signs of starting to fall off. So I like him as the fifth, but we don't need to hash it out too much more about that. I'm sure
Flags, be
we'll
honest. Are you
continue
using
to look at.
Maddie's makeup light?
No,
Okay.
I just have my monitors up, and they go
So
dead if I'm not
unnecessary.
rolling. But now that Palmer is done with his interesting comments.
You're just talking shit.
Oh, Mike has a ring light there.
Wait, Mike has.
Mike's got the fucking light, bro.
Wow, high production value over there
Oh.
at the Tracy House.
Look at the
Hell yeah.
glow.
If only he could make
got
his
the
room look
value.
not smoky.
That's
I'm
Mike likes
gonna check
to
that out.
have that smoky effect. Thinks it adds something. Speaking of adding something, Luton adding something to
Yeah.
their point tally with a draw versus Wolves. Both these teams are terrible. Wolves was playing with 10 men for more than half the game and still managed to get a draw out of this one. Luton's just 20 shots to 3. Wow. That 10 men really came into effect there.
Only 4 on
If
target.
Luton
Let's not act
cannot win this game versus 10 men, who are they going to win against if a 10-man Wolves is not enough for them to beat? Nick, any hope
They
for
have
them?
they have a chance against Burnley and Sheffield, I think. Like, they'll play each other well.
They're familiar foes, yeah.
Yeah, listen, again, 3 promoted teams, they suck. I think Wolves finished 17th. They suck. But they're still better than those teams. Only thing I have from this game is it was very funny to watch Pedro Neto's celebration, where he did like 16 different celebrations, like after he
I
scored.
saw that he
Like,
was like 30 of
pointing
them
to his
just
name, was like flicking the hands, like cupping his ears. It was crazy. Good for him.
Mike,
I've got
any
no
hope
thoughts.
for them?
Any hope for Luton? No, there's not. They need to, win a game to have any sort of hope. So I don't think that's going to happen.
To be
They got more
honest,
hope than Sheffield.
they probably should not have gone even up. I think Sheffield has much more hope. I think Luton snuck through the championship playoff, beating teams that they probably should not have beat due to just low-scoring games going their way, and now they found themselves in the Premier League, did not invest heavily, and they will enjoy their 1 year and then their parachute payments after that in the championship and see what they can do down there again.
Is
But
there is like
Yeah.
of these three teams, do you think any of them can beat out a Wolves or Bournemouth? Or I like
I
Bournemouth
think
actually, but
Burnley. I think Burnley, the way they've been playing teams pretty well, just not getting any results. I think if they start to turn a corner and have a slight turn of fortune, I think they could actually
okay.
be safe. I don't think
I
they're
agree with
challenging
that.
for anything.
I would take Burnley
I
as
think
my
company hasn't played.
one out of the promoted clubs that could stay up. Yeah, I think Luton's ambition really is, like you said, Flags, to just stay in the top two leagues of England. So if they go down, I don't think it'll be super crushing for them.
No, and they get crazy money for coming up. They didn't spend much to then next year have to worry about all the wage bills and players leaving. They'll take
Yeah.
the money they get for going up, and then over the next 3 years, they'll have millions coming in on those parachute payments that can just boost them in the championship. They're taking
Yeah.
it for what
They're
it is.
building for the future.
Yeah, that's honestly not a bad idea if you just don't have the money to invest like crazy. You guys got a great turn in the playoff to get through, but probably not going to last too long. Speaking of teams that are starting to last a little bit longer, having some good stretches in the Prem, Palace and Fulham, I do think they're pretty much level teams here. 0-0 would show that. Fulham has been, I think, a little disappointing this year. I think Mitrovic leaving has hurt them quite a bit. Nick,
A lot.
any thoughts on Crystal Palace versus Fulham 0-0?
Nah, stinker. Palace, Fulham, Everton, Bournemouth, even Nottingham, we could toss them there. Chelsea, they're just kind of the same team at this point.
Appreciate you
Like,
putting Everton there.
yeah, I do like Crystal Palace more, I will say, than Fulham. I've been really disappointed. Like, they're bad. Paulinho's leaving in January for sure. It feels like they don't look good. So yeah, that's all I got.
Mike, any thoughts? 0-0. Turn your eye.
No, no, yeah, like you guys said, they're pretty evenly matched teams. I think Crystal Palace is a little bit more going for them with the players they have. I think attacking wise, they look more threatening usually, but from the stats this week, they're not putting up crazy shot numbers. Um, yeah, 3 shots on target, 7 shots total. That's pretty meager. Um, I like some of the players they have. I like a number of their defenders. But yeah, I think this is kind of a standard result, and I think these teams will finish very close to each other.
Yeah, I do give Crystal Palace a slight edge, and I think my confidence, if you're having Willian start for you, it's not exactly the greatest sign. But
Legend.
we move forward to our previews of the upcoming week. We will start with Arsenal versus Bournemouth. To our Gooner, Nico. Tyler Adams could be back for this. He will be in the squad versus Stoke. Are
Listen,
you
this
shitting
is
your pants or what?
no, but this is one of those games, mini injury crisis. This is one of those games. Let's get a result. The players who step in, let's play well. I'm really excited to see Emil Smith Rowe in the Carabao Cup tomorrow. I think he's been sharp, and I think he hasn't had much of a chance for Arteta, which has been pissing me off. And let's not forget that it was him, Saka, and Martinelli who dragged this club out of the mud. So hopefully he he shows out well, and I hope he plays against Bournemouth as well. Um, just show me Jesus down the middle, and I feel confident that we can get a win with everyone else who's still healthy. So Jesus down the middle, I think we get the win. And Nketiah down the middle. If it's a good Nketiah game, then I still think we get the win because Bournemouth, again, that's when he should be playing, not against top half of the team top half of the league teams. Yeah, I have said I like Bournemouth, so like 10% wary, but mostly should be a standard result.
Mike,
I'll
are you
say
10% weary or are you a little more
I'll
weary?
say 2-0. Arsenal never concede on the road.
Bournemouth doesn't show me anything to make me think they'll give Arsenal a run, but I am excited for Tyler Adams. He's my favorite American player, and I think he'll have a huge impact on this team. He's a dog. He runs around the pitch. He gets in people's faces. He makes the back lines life so much easier. And if he plays this weekend, they're going to need their lives to be easier with the powerhouses Arsenal has up top, even if they're a little injury prone. I think Arsenal wins comfortably 2-0.
I'm going 1-1 draw if Tyler Adams plays.
You're
If
such a
not,
cock.
2-0.
You're such a
Whoa.
dork.
I said if Tyler Adams plays.
It's so easy for him, bro.
Anyway,
He's just such a
we
he's
move
just such a piece
forward
of shit, bro.
to wow, this is a hell of a matchup. Mike, it's your featured game. It is Aston Villa Brighton. Two teams that are in pretty hot form, challenging for a top 6 spot. Who you got here? What are your featured things to look out for?
That's a tight one to call. Yeah, I like both of these teams. They both play attractive football, attacking football, and I like both managers. I like a lot of their personnel. I think there'll be goals. I think it'll be a goal fest. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 3-3 game, a real barn burner, an exciting
I'm
one.
down to watch that. That would be good.
Hell yeah. I want to watch that. I'll go 2-2.
2-2. I like it. Goals is what we're promising here. De Zerbi, Emery, don't let us down. Goals, it will be a common theme from what I'm seeing in Tottenham Liverpool,
Hell
which
yeah.
is my featured game of the week. We have Big Ange versus Klopp. What a matchup here. I think it will test both these teams to see where they're at. Liverpool kind of on this resurgence and great form, see if they can challenge City, and Tottenham coming off of a draw versus Arsenal. Can they get a big win to this new Big Ange era? Nick, who you got here and what's the score?
Give me Liverpool 3-1. I like 3-1? Yeah, I'll go 3-1. Um, I hope Madison's okay. I haven't seen anything on him, but that tackle was actually really scary. I thought it could have been a red when he got hammered like that, honestly. So I don't know how he walked off and even kept playing for a little bit. But yeah, I've said it. I think Liverpool's playing the best ball of any team this year so far. Again, man, can't argue against Man City's results, but for me, I enjoy watching Liverpool a little bit more at the moment. So I like him 3-1. And again, I didn't think Spurs looked that good against Arsenal. Like Son is a very, very elite player and a good finisher, but they didn't create anything, I didn't think. And they still have a ways to go when it comes to playing out the back, in my opinion. Even though, again, once our injuries happen in the second half, their midfield looked better. But yeah, give me Liverpool 3-1.
Mike, what's your score prediction here?
I'll go 2-2. I'll mirror what happened this past weekend with Arsenal and Tottenham. I think Liverpool will look better this game. I think they'll play better. But Tottenham will end up getting an equalizer, probably through Son. It's just kind of how it's been going, and he's finding the goal. He looks really clinical. He's
Son
doing
down
it.
the middle, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that would be his best spot. I think he
His
probably still
movement's
is
elite.
best coming off the left, but yeah, he has some striker movement to him, and his
Yeah,
finishing in the boxes.
elite.
It's Harry Kane-esque. It really is. So yeah, 2-2.
All right, I'm going Liverpool 2-1. Could see it flip-flop the other way, Tottenham 2-1, but I think I give the edge to Liverpool right now. And now we'll go into the rest of the Premier League, and we will start with another Big Six team here, guys. I just want a score prediction and a sentence as to why. We're going to start with Chelsea, Fulham. We've talked a bit about how they're at the same level. Nick, score prediction and a little justification for us.
0-0. They both suck.
All right, Mike, anything different?
Dude, I took Chelsea last week to beat Villa because I thought, well, they're this bad, but there's got to be a good team somewhere in there, and I'm really losing that opinion. It's just it's nothing to hold on to there. So give me Fulham 1-0. That's what I'll take.
I like it. I like it. I will go. Yeah, 0-0 draw. Just that's what this team has written all over it. Enough said about these teams. We move to Manchester United versus Palace. They just beat them in the Carabao Cup 3-0. That was with a rotated Crystal Palace side. Can they do it the weekend? Same result. Nick, score and justification.
2-1 Man U. Maybe playing with a little bit more confidence. I could see a 1-1, but I'll say 2-1 Man U.
Mike, same amount of confidence.
Yeah, 2-0 Man U. They outplayed Crystal Palace today pretty easily.
That
I
team
wouldn't
sucked
say
though, the Crystal Palace team.
Yeah, it wasn't either team's starting 11. Manchester United played a lot more of their starting players. Arambat came into the team for the first time today. Mason Mount back, Varane back. I think with these guys they have back, they'll look a little bit better. I don't think they'll play attractive football. I think it'll be ugly as ever, but I think they'll get a result. Man U 2-0.
I'm going Man U 2-1 over Palace. Just do think that they have some talent coming in with Amrabat. And then we move to Manchester City versus Wolves. You guys know the drill here. I'd imagine you guys will both have the same answer and just different score lines. Nick?
4-1 City.
4-zip
Mike?
City. Not the same scoreline,
Yeah.
but pretty close. Yeah, maybe Wolves will get a counter goal or a penalty.
I like Wolves. I like Wolves to
Corner
score
kick or
first.
something. And then City just turns it
I'll
on.
say fucking
Yeah.
5-0. 5-0 to Wolves.
Okay.
No,
Good
5-0 to
luck.
City.
Lock it in.
I could
Yeah,
see
I would say the spread will be covered here.
I think a Holland hat trick is not super crazy to say.
He is due. Due for a hat
He's
trick.
scored like every game. What do you mean he's due?
Yeah, but he
He's
isn't a
only
hat
got 8.
trick.
He's only got 8 and 6. I want to see 11 and 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's going to break his own record again. He's got to pick it
Oh
up.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of 8 goals and some high-scoring games, Newcastle goes from one newly promoted team to another newly promoted team facing Burnley. Nick, give us it.
I'm going Newcastle 3-0. This is also gonna be my lock of the week. Newcastle off 8-0. They got confidence now. I think they're gonna remind the league why they qualified for Champions League last year. They're gonna start going on a run here. 3-0.
I
Mike?
expect a dip in form. I think they get a gutsy 2-1 win over Burnley. I think it's going to be tight,
Burnley?
and I don't think Newcastle's going to look very good. I think that's going to be kind of what happened with their first game of the season: come out, win 6-1, and then go draw, excuse me, lose. So yeah, I think they get the win, but I think it's tight.
Yeah, I feel a little bit closer to Mike here. I think Burnley has
Oh
been
my
playing
God.
teams a little tighter than what their results show. I'm going a 1-1 draw here for
Ooh.
Burnley
Oh my
Newcastle.
God. You guys are
That is crazy.
Now we move to the main event of the evening: Everton versus Luton. What surely will be the highest quality fixture of the weekend. Mike, let's go to you first this time. How much are we winning by?
Oh man, Sean Dyke, come on, boys.
You thought 8-0 was a lot.
You thought 8-0 was a lot. Yeah. Let's get into the double
Just wait till
digits.
Don Juma gets a hold of them.
I'll say Everton 3-0. I think we lock them out.
Pause. Wait,
Shut
wait, wait.
out.
Okay, pause. So Newcastle will win 2-1, but Everton's winning 3-0 against two promoted teams. What are we talking about?
Luton and
We, we,
Burnley are different teams by a,
we got our
a
wings, man.
pretty significant margin.
Yeah, show me the table.
Look at the championship table from last year. Burnley
Come
was
on.
miles above.
Come
This team is
on.
inspired. We've needed a little bit of fire. We got it this weekend. And the fire's not going out, dude. I'm throwing fuel on the flames. 3-0, baby. I'm sticking with it. It's going to happen. I might change my lock of the week to 3-0 Everton.
All right, Nick, are you putting any fires out here? Or are you fanning the
No,
flames over
no.
here?
No, I'm behind the boys. Toffees
Let's
2-0.
go.
Luton sucks, and I'm telling you, I think Everton might be building.
I said 2-1 the Toffees. I think Ross Barkley gets a goal against us just for shits and gigs.
That stinker.
That stinker. And next we move to the other promoted team, Sheffield, facing West Ham. West Ham coming off of two pretty tough games, probably going to want to take out their anger. And it's against a team that has zero confidence whatsoever. Nick, how much
Uh,
is Sheffield going to lose by?
I think Sheffield's gonna be pretty happy because the result's gonna only be 4-0 instead of 8. So I think, we take
Hey,
baby steps.
the week after that, it's 2. And the week
Yeah,
after that, they get a draw, baby.
I think so. So 4-0 West Ham.
I think Sheffield does a little bit of damage control, and decides they're never going to play a team straight up in the league ever again. So they're going to sit, and it's going to be 2-0 West Ham. West Ham's going to get like a few, maybe one off a corner, and one kind of off like a counterattack, and then Sheffield's just going to just sit the whole game.
To be fair, I don't think they were playing Newcastle extremely straight up and still lost 8-0. But
Sure.
I think here it's a 2-0 victory for West Ham. I think Sheffield gets their shit together a bit, but West Ham is still just having a good year and on some hot form.
I think this
And
West Ham
last,
team's
but
They're just a
huh?
way
decent.
better team.
I think they're closer. I think they're closer to like Villa than they are to Palace.
I don't know if I can say that after last year, them fighting relegation like crazy
I
and then
know,
all of a sudden
dude, but
bringing us
I
out of
like
it.
this team, man. I like this team.
I think 10 games in, we can say a little bit more certainty of where West Ham actually
That's
is
fair.
at. But our last fixture of the week to preview, we have Nottingham and the mighty Matt Turner in net versus Brentford and the Buzzin' Bees. The Bees coming off of a loss to Everton. Are we thinking the slide continues versus Nottingham, who's sneakily doing all right this year, not super close to relegation? Nick, what are we
I'll
thinking?
go. Yeah, these teams feel similar to me. Like maybe a notch above that Everton full, even though Everton is beat Brentford. No hit me. But like just a notch above, like pretty solidly mid-table. They feel like. I'll say 2-2.
All right, Mike, be the trees.
I'll take the trees. I'll take them 2-1. I mean, they lost to City, and City didn't play like their best. They kind of opened them up right away and with the first 2 goals quick. But 2-0 is a respectable result, any way you put it, even with the red card. Yeah, I'll take Tottenham or Nottingham 2-1. They look like Tottenham though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Brentford 1-0. Nottingham's defense has been
Ooh.
pretty bad and leaving Matt Turner out to dry a lot. And I do think that they get back to their better form, but I do think they're pretty evenly matched here. But that is the end of our wrap up for the Premier League, and now we get into what everybody really loves to talk about: is the U.S. men's national team roundup. Palmer, if you could bring up our headliner tweet that we will get to at the end of this roundup. It is Gio and Greg. But first, we move over to the Dutch league with PSV, and we get a Pepe goal who rounds the keeper. He is every time he's getting goals. I believe he has a goal every 25 minutes right now is his current pace.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, you would hope that he gets a start over De Jong, but De Jong's also scoring, and PSV are flying. Other than in the Champions League, and Dest has no problem with that because he posted on his Instagram a highlight reel of him cooking Arsenal players after their 4-0 loss in pure Sergino Dest fashion. The guy that wore a basketball jersey to Messi's farewell is still himself. He has zero shame whatsoever, and we love
He's
him
a
for
different
it.
cat.
And of the last of our trio there, Malik Tillman, bad weekend for him. He slept through some type of team event and was left off the team sheet entirely for them. Made an Instagram post saying that he was sorry and it won't happen again. But yeah, he's in some hot water right now. Pretty stupid mistake there. Going over to another midfielder though, Weston McKennie. He is in top form. Just actually had another game with Juventus today and did not get the assist, but got the pass to assist, set up a really nice header across the goal for them to tap in for their win today. Been in just really great form. And keeping in Italy with great form is Yunus Musa, who got his first league start for Milan, started next to Pulisic, and they get the win there. Musa was probably a little bit more impressive than Pulisic in that game, but still pretty standard game from Pulisic. Uh, and the midfielders stay on fire. Luca Della Torre, in a heartbreaking loss to Barcelona, gets the assist for the opening goal. Had a pretty good game against them. Obviously, Barca comes back and stomps out Celta Vigo's little
Yeah,
hearts.
did they get shit on?
Now, they ended up conceding late goals that had them losing it.
Got it.
But
Frankie De Jong
nothing
from Aldi,
stopped them.
baby.
Yeah, whatever, Barca boy. But Hearts were stomped on quite a bit more for Monaco fans in their derby, their big rival game. Balogun gets the start over Ben Yedder, and he gets to take the penalty. And he misses the first penalty, but do not worry, he gets a second shot at it, and he missed that one too. So a pretty tough game for him. Ben Yedder, when he was coming off, told him, calm down, it's okay. Those things happen. Made a tweet saying it was pretty tough for him to be able to get over it. So hopefully Balogun can get some goals to get his confidence back and feel a little bit better about that. But now for the main event, who you see on the screen right now, Gio Reyna and old ass Greg Berhalter, Baldy McGee, finally potentially squashing their beef. Greg Berhalter and Gio Reyna have supposedly talked, according to U.S. soccer director Matt Crocker, and he says, I think they are on better terms. So we'll be called in for the October camp. He is getting healthy. So, boys, it has finally happened. Gio Reyna and Greg have spoken. How fun would it be to be a fly in the room to hear them talk? Nick, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's gotta be hella awkward. But for the future of the federation, the national team, really, really big. Gio should be the main creative force for that team, the starting 10. I think that's when we play our best ball. So Pulisic off the left, way on the right. And then take your pick of Ballo or Pepe. Probably Pepe this week up front. So yeah, dude. Hopefully it's a sign of big things. It feels like, I mean, looking back, it's obvious that it had to happen because there's no way they would have hired this man back if they were going to continue this stupid vendetta. Like it feels like it was all baked into his contract. Because I don't see him actually wanting to talk to Gio, but it happened, and excited to see him back with the stars and stripes soon.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a fly on the wall, I'd probably fly into a ceiling fan or like a light if I was in that room. I can't imagine that was a a super, fun conversation. It's probably super awkward. I heard Greg Berhalter speak, and I know Gio Reyna is like a pretty cocky 19-year-old, so there's a little bit of a divide there. But
Okay.
good, good. I mean, it's about fucking time. The relationship couldn't have got worse, so hearing that it's better is not saying much. We'll have to see some action on the field once
Yeah, it's true.
international plays back up, but it's a good start, and it's the bare minimum. That's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I think that covers it pretty well. It is the bare minimum, and it has come very late, the bare minimum here. He
Yeah.
is squashing the beef with a 20-year-old player on his team that is going to be a star, and it's the first time he has talked to him in months as a grown man.
Yeah,
Like,
Craig. Way to go.
nothing to be praised there at all for Greg. Gio Reyna, I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna have a good relationship. I think there's a good amount of players on this team that don't really want Greg there, but obviously understand that he's going to be there. It is what it is. Gio Reyna hopefully can get out there. He played in a 10 role. We'll see where he's played. If he's not starting again, I think there's going to be maybe some flare ups in this. I don't know if this will be the end or a simple end if Greg Berhalter continues his Berhalter ball of playing all defensive and just cross the shit out of the ball and see what happens.
Time will tell.
Time will certainly tell, and time will certainly tell what producer P will have done to our mental state after his weekly question for us. Producer P, I know you said you had an intellectual question.
Yeah, I
week.
lied. I
So-
decided I decided to go back to one of the stupid ones because they're more fun anyway. So,
Yeah,
boys.
it fits your brand a little bit better. So
a
fire
big
away.
thing I noticed when I watch soccer. Hang on, someone's doing wheelies outside my apartment, I guess. Big thing I noticed when I watch soccer is that there are a lot of pussies that play this sport.
Jesus Christ.
People get hit and they stay on the ground and they look like they got shot. So, I ask you today, who is the biggest pussy in soccer?
Son cries a lot. Like a lot.
If you're talking flopping, I feel like it kind of has to be Neymar, right?
It can be either. I don't really care about your definition.
Does Neymar flop or does he actually get injured? Because it feels like he's just very fragile.
But I think he gets injured half the time from his flops because he flails himself so far.
Yeah,
He takes
that's
impact
true.
damage from his jumps.
Last year, honestly, I would have said Fabio Vieira just because he was like a breeze, a gentle breeze could have knocked me over. Like, he's proving me wrong this year, but yeah, I honestly I think fuck Tottenham. I'll go Heung-min Son. He cries a lot. Feels like he cries pretty often, like a couple times a season. So grow up, man.
I think the easy answer is an attacking player because we see it a lot. But I think what I'd go for is more of a hard-nosed defender who goes flying into fucking challenges, and then anytime he gets touched, he dives. So names that come to mind would be like Lissandro Martinez, the Butcher, who dude is out there catching bodies, being a nuisance. And then if he gets blown on, he's doing the whole acting camp on the ground, doing the whole Miami Heat school of acting. So yeah, it could be Lissandro, it could be Christian Romero, it could be any South American defender.
Yeah. I do think that at a certain point, refs just kind of have to stop calling things that are being so egregiously over exaggerated, like they get tapped and they go down as if they had been shot. I think you just have to just play on and just let them know that just because you're making a big reaction doesn't mean it's going to draw an actual call. And I think until that point, players are going to do it because it does give them a competitive advantage to make a big scene of it and to embellish it quite a bit. It's the same thing that happens in the NBA, but maybe soccer does it a little bit better because they can roll around on the ground rather than hardwood floors.
It's probably
Yeah, and
true.
Listen,
I find it
Palmer, go
like
ahead,
it
Mike.
should
Sorry.
be aging. I feel like it should be kind of aging out of the sport or transitioning out of the sport with VAR and the refs reviewing everything. But it doesn't really seem to be. I would expect a lot more yellow cards for simulation, but we don't.
I think there's
I haven't really seen
so many
that.
things that aren't reviewed by VAR.
Right.
Listen, I have a problem with the question in general. Palmer, as far as like pussies playing soccer, like people flop, don't get me wrong, but I think that happens in just about every sport, and like maybe a little bit more so in soccer. If you get like caught in a bad tackle, like that shit hurts. People rolling on the floor, like these people are playing
Oh,
at
I
fast
totally
speeds,
understand. Yeah,
and
I
like
agree. There's probably some
that
fucking
grass is
heinous
hard. Like,
injuries.
bro, it is tough. So
Yeah.
a lot of the times when they're on the floor, it's not for nothing. Like,
No, it's just fun to make fun of soccer players.
Neymar, as you have all these pictures up, I feel like we have to give it to Neymar.
This is quite the fucking highlight reel right here.
Neymar is a diva, but that being said, he's had his fair share of brutal injuries.
Fair, yeah,
The Columbia knee to the back being the
yeah.
paramount one.
I mean, people stop at him nonstop, whether it's serious fouls or not. He has plenty of chances to both flop and get injured, and flopping potentially probably saves him from some injuries because if he tries to fight through it, there's not as many yellows given out. People don't have to be as
That one's
careful around him. And yeah, there he goes. He's
He
rolling
got
his
caught
way.
there. Like he did get
He
caught,
did get caught.
but he didn't
Yeah.
have to.
His momentum carried him through one roll, and then he forced a few more.
He kept going. I like it.
Yeah.
He perseveres.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
All right.
Into our final segment of the night, we have our locks of the week. Point tallies are at 1 point for me, 1 point for Mike, and Nick with 0. Mike,
Yep.
let's go with your lock of the week first.
Wait,
Yeah,
let
I
me
talked
figure out
about
how
a few
to
games.
paint this. There we go. Nice.
Talked about a few games I was interested in. We did make that rule. You cannot take the same team in back-to-back weeks. I initially wanted to go with Manchester City, but that could be a little unfair with how good they are and how unlikely they drop points is. So I took West Ham over Sheffield 2-0, beating up on the underdogs of the league who took a bad defeat last week. And they'll take another one this week, but it won't be as ugly.
All right. Nick, you're at 0 points. What's your big play to get on the board?
Yeah, I like Newcastle over Burnley 3-0. That's my lock of the week. I feel good about it.
Nice. I like it. I'd like to see
Skill shot.
Feliato potentially ruin that for you and put on a masterclass display.
Oh, yeah.
But I went with a team that maybe not that many people would be betting on, and I probably shouldn't be betting on. I'm going Everton, and this is about the only team you should bet on them maybe for is against Luton Town. And I'm going 2-1. Nothing too crazy. Please, God, don't let me down, or else I will be so depressed.
Dude, I almost
Everton
had
2-1.
this as my lock. I was close. I like this.
I like it too.
I like Everton. I really hope they win, because if they do not, I will not give a fuck about this point, but I will be very sad.
Who are they playing?
Luton.
It's Luton.
And
Yeah.
who was Newcastle playing? You
I
said
like it, but I don't-
3-0?
I don't bet on my own teams.
Burnley, I
Burnley.
think, yeah. Look at
All right,
that, the
boys.
3 relegated teams. All
Holy shit.
We have a friend here.
Yeah.
All right. I'll keep track of the score up top for now as well. I don't know. I'll play with this, make it look pretty. But
All right.
All right, boys.
Perfect.
wow.
Boys, any closing thoughts before
Nah,
we say goodbye
good
to our
pod.
listeners?
Goodbye to Megan Rapinoe. Thank you for everything.
Fuck up, shut the fuck.
Controversial
Should not have
figure,
been at the World Cup.
but still
He
a
is.
legend of the game. Nevertheless,
Oh,
a champion and a Ballon d'Or winner. Enjoy your
She won Ballon
retirement,
d'Or?
Megan. She did. She won the first ever female Ballon d'Or, I believe,
Oh my god.
2019. Fact check me on that.
Interesting. All right. Nick, any shout outs for women players that have retired that won Ballon
No
d'Ors?
shout out for women players. Up the Gunners. Up the Arsenal this weekend. Good pod, boys.
Up the top.
All right. Up the talkies. See you later, listeners.
Peace.